segment of Flashback News. Today we're going to review 2002, and we're going to start with Landon, who's going to cover the political stories of the day.
In the beginning of our decade, our government had to deal with intense foreign frustrations, to say the least. In President Bush's State of the Union in 2002, he addresses terrorism and vows to expand the fight to maintain freedom and peace for Americans. He labeled Iran, Iraq, and North Korea as the axis of evil on January 29th. That summer, the U.S. withdrew from the International Court Treaty. In June specifically, we abandoned the 31-year-old anti-ballistic missile treaty and then announced a change of policy with the Middle East. As of that year, we now recognize Palestine as an independent state until Yasser Arafat is replaced.
Now we'll go to Emily to find out more information about President Bush.
President Bush signed the Corporate Reform Bill on July 30th. On September 12th, President Bush addressed the United Nations calling for a regime change in Iraq. On November 25th, President Bush signs legislation creating a cabinet-level Department of Homeland Security. As of November 5th, the Republicans had retaken the Senate in midterm elections and additional House seats.
Now to Abby with the news stories from 2000.
Some of the top news stories of the day still resonate in today's world. On July 28th, the Pennsylvania miners who were trapped for 72 hours in a dark, flooded mine shaft were rescued. From October 2nd to October 24th, 2 snipers preyed on Washington, D.C. suburbs. They killed 10, wounded several others, and raised a general panic. On October 24th, John Allen Muhammad and John Lee Malvo were arrested as the 2 suspected snipers. On December 13th, Boston Archbishop Cardinal Bernard Law resigned his position. This was following the release of the Catholic Church's sexual abuse scandals and the cover-ups of priest-child molestation. Lastly was the abduction and murder of Daniel Van Dam and Samantha Runyon, and the disappearance of Elizabeth Smart, who was found alive in 2003, that strengthened a call for nationwide Amber Alerts. Overall, there were a lot of top news stories in today's world that still resonate today. Now we're going to go to Shakade Bree, who's going to tell us about some TV shows from 2002 that were popular.
In 2002, there were a lot of interesting TV shows that lasted for many series and are still talked about and even replayed on air. Shows like Monk, that aired from 2002 to 2007, that is about an unsolved murder of his wife, and he develops an obsessive-compulsive disorder that's made him a permanent job as a homicide detective in San Francisco. Also shows like George Lopez, from 2002 to 2007, who was an assembly line worker and a family man who has promoted to manager of an airplane factory in LA, and he keeps presenting itself in its normal life. Also shows like What I Like About You, from 2002 to 2006, about 2 sisters living in New York City together after their dad moved to Japan. Older sister Val has to look out and raise younger sister Holly as they learn to live life without parents and form relationships. Also shows like CSI Miami from 2002 to 2012, about a Florida team of investigators using scientific method and old-fashioned police work to solve crimes. And there are your popular TV shows for 2002. Now from Talia with news from 2002.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games was a winter multi-sport event in Salt Lake City, Utah. Approximately 2,400 athletes from 78 countries participated in these events. Some of the sports include skiing, figure skating, and more. Next, the No Child Left Behind Act also occurred in 2002. It was passed and signed by President George W. Bush. Next, Andrew Fastow, former Chief Financial Officer for In-Law Enron Corporation. He was indicted 78 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and observation of justice. Last, at the Tri-State Crematory, Lafayette, Georgia, investigators found uncremated bodies disposed of in the woods and buildings of crematorium property.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Flashback News, where we reviewed events from 2002. Have a great day.